So, for the first part of our presentation on the Lenape, we're going to be talking about the shelters that they used. Today, Lenape tribes will use apartments or houses just like many Americans do today. But what about hundreds of years ago? What did they live in? So, a lot of people watching movies or TV shows might think they lived in teepees, but this is actually a misconception. Only the Plains Indians out in West use teepees. In the East, however, Lenape used two types of structures. The first was wigwams, the second was longhouses. And I'm going to show you how they built those structures. For the first structure we're going to talk about, I have here a wigwam. So wigwams are one of the smaller structures that the Lenape used for shelter. This is about 8 to 10 feet tall and can house a small family. Now, the way they made this, they actually started building it in the springtime when all the plants and trees started turning green, and that actually is better to make this structure here. They would use the saplings of the willow tree to make the frame, and that's why I left this hole open so you can see the frame itself. They would actually use those trees to bend and connect to each other, and then they would lash it together with some plant life. On the outside, you have bark of the birch tree. So they would carefully carve into the tree to make the outer shell, and this helped protect from the outside elements. And this structure, if you build it right, can last up to 10 years. But this wasn't a long-term shelter that we use. This is a semi-permanent construction. On the inside, as you can see, we have items such as the campfire. They can have furs from animals to lay on as mats, and they can use it to sleep on. They would keep their wood inside, some food inside, and they would also have the top of the wigwam open. That is for the smoke of the campfire to exit out. So if I continue to build on top of this structure here, I would still leave this hole open so that all the smoke can come out and they can be warm in the winter months or when they're sleeping. So this is the smallest structure. I will be talking about the longer house that they would use. The second structure that the Lenape use are called longhouses. So just imagine a wigwam, just longer. Longhouses were about 200 feet long, measured in fire pits, about 10 to 12. Longhouses were meant to house entire clans, such as the Turkey or the Turtle clan. It housed up to 60 people, and it was a very family-oriented structure. Just imagine living with all your cousins, aunts, and uncles. That was basically how longhouses were supposed to be. Now, on the inside of longhouses, it's basically the same structure as the wigwam, just more materials. And there was actually 2 floors on the longhouses. The first was for your campfires, furs, and living area, where they would tell stories, gather on the campfire, tell history of the Lenape. And second floor was for sleeping, to separate themselves and to create more room. When you think about it, the Lenape structures such as the wigwams or longhouses aren't so different from what we might use today. The Lenape drew resources from nature, and they would provide safety, structure, and protection for their tribe, just like we would do today.